Welcome to Failure is Progress, presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. I am Coach Frankie Ortega.
And I am Coach Keith Barber. Join us today as we discuss everything going on inside the CrossFit space and, more importantly, what new and exciting things are happening in our Sweat Factory CrossFit gyms.
As always, thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate the support and truly enjoy the feedback we've been receiving from all of you.
Please reach out through our DMs on Instagram. If you aren't already following us, please do so at Failure is Progress, all lowercase. And now, on to today's episode.
All right, my bro, we are back, Coach Frankie and Coach Keith, for another episode of Failure is Progress, presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm doing very well. How are you? I know you've been a little rocky the last couple of days. How you feeling?
Yeah, a little under the weather. Spent about a week with that flu thing. Just trying to come out of it. I still sound a little stuffy, but I'm getting there one day at a time. Yeah, it was rough, man. It got me good.
Yeah.
Got me pretty good. What about you? Anything fantastic going on? Great job emceeing the Tampa Bay Games, by the way.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. It's always a good time to go out there and hang out. Shout out to everybody that competed at Tampa Bay Games. It was so much fun being out there on the floor with you guys and calling your heats and being able to tell you some inside jokes that were outside. It was a lot of fun. Huge shout out to Barry and Carson. They both podiumed. Barry in the I think it was the Masters 65. I don't know. Masters podium. And then Carson in the team division. Great job, guys. Way to get after it. Shout
Absolutely.
out to the what was the name of Rowan's team? Like, we're not fit enough, or not fit for long, or not strong for long. That's what it was. Not strong for long. Shout out to them for egregiously correcting me when I said there was a 10-minute time cap, and it was actually 14 minutes. Yeah, thanks for throwing me under that bus. Appreciate it, guys. Love you too.
Keeping you honest, man. The standard is the standard.
Standard is the standard, and I jacked it up severely.
Yeah, and speaking of competitions, we've got Festivus coming up.
We got Festivus coming up on October 5th. It's going to be a great time. If you're not signed up, get signed up. We are going to be running the Festivus workouts during the competition team practices. That is here at the Clermont location from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you're interested in checking that out and you are registered for Festivus, you can come 100% free. If you're interested in checking it out and seeing what the Festivus workouts are all about, you are more than welcome to drop in at a drop-in fee. If you're registered, free. If you're not registered, fee. Cool?
Sweet. Fee or free. I like it. All right, man. Today's topic, we didn't really have one, but there's something that's been on my mind that I want to talk about for a while. And
Me? No, I'm just kidding.
We'll talk about you in private. But Adrian Conway, who you know I'm a big fan of, he was my level 1 coach. He is seminar staff. He is a CrossFit Games athlete. I think he was 7-time CrossFit Games athlete.
There was a lot of them.
But he is, to me, a huge example of what a CrossFit coach is, outside of our boxes, of course. But he put a post up recently, and his post was very simple. It just says, "Your addiction to intensity stifles your results." And I really like that. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into it, and I'm going to read his actual post under that. Intensity is the independent variable most commonly associated with maximizing the rate of return on favorable adaptations. CrossFit prescribed with great programming can be magic. Intensity can be addictive. You want it too often in a specific way and you don't maximize it. You overdo it with frequency and volume. And so I want to kind of break this down a little bit with you, specifically since I'm studying for my next credential. And this is one of those things that I want to fully understand more. We've talked numerous times about mechanics and technique over intensity and volume, right? But what exactly does it mean, you know, when he says that we can get addicted to intensity and that stifles our results?
Great question. So what I interpret that to mean is that there are way too many people that only feel like they got a good workout if they did something that was super, super hard, super, super stressful on the body, and it just leaves them in a puddle of sweat on the floor, gasping for air. They don't feel like they got a quote unquote good workout if they did what's commonly referred to as like zone 2 training or any steady state cardio, or they don't feel like it was a good workout if their heart rate never gets to a certain level, or if they don't feel like they're challenged enough, like if their muscles aren't burning enough, or they didn't do whatever skill that they wanted to do for that day. Let's say it was push-ups and maybe they wanted to do handstand push-ups. They don't feel like they were challenged enough, and to them that means that they didn't get a good workout, or maybe they feel
Right.
like they wasted their time. When in all actuality, that prescription for that day for the workout might be exactly what your body needed for you to optimally sustain your level of fitness or even increase your level of fitness.
Yeah, I think, for me, there's a lot of, I guess, nuance to intensity, right? When I was in cycling and I was training to be a better cyclist with no real purpose, right? I wasn't competing. I wasn't going to any of the local crit races or anything like that. I definitely wasn't going to no Tour de France, right? But I was riding 30, 35 miles a day. And I was doing that with the intention of keeping my speed a certain speed, 20, 22, 24 miles an hour for as long as I could. Down in Miami, it's all flat land. Most of Florida is pretty flat. But down in Miami, you're even flatter below sea level, right? And I remember that I would go out and do these training sessions and come back and talk with my boss. My boss was a national rider for the Cuban national team, and then he became a coach for the Venezuelan national team. And I remember him one day telling me, "You're riding too hard, too much." And I was like, "What do you mean I'm riding too hard, too much? Like, how am I going to get better if I don't put myself out there and ride harder?" And he said, try to ride no faster than maybe 15 miles an hour. And stay at that 15 miles an hour without stopping. Try to time your lights. Try to, time traffic so that you never have to stop. And do that for as long as you can. So if it's 2 hours, do it for 2 hours. If it's 1 hour, do it for 1 hour. And he used to call it tempo training, right? And he's like, one day a week, on Saturday when we come out and we're all a big group and we're riding together, if you want to have some fun and go a little harder, go ahead. But the absolute best training you can do for your capacity is to go slow. And I thought he was absolutely bananas. But I listened to him. And I got much faster, much stronger, and better in a shorter period of time. I feel like this is just another version of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
We come in every day and we want to do RX every single day.
Well, it's not even about being able to go RX every single day. It's more so about you pushing your body to its absolute limits every single day. So whether you're doing white level workouts or black level workouts, if you're actually going in and going 100% intensity every day, you're not actually getting better because your body's not recovering enough before you hit that next 100% effort. If you came in, for instance, and maxed out your back squat, the next day when you go in, if you tried to max out your back squat again, I can guarantee you're not even hitting 95% of what you hit the day before.
Right.
Your body hasn't recovered enough for you to go and hit 100% intensity again. Same thing happens with our CrossFit workouts. If you go in, even if you're hitting a blue level workout, if you go in and send it, give it 100% effort, the next day you're not able to send it and give 100% effort, but you're going to try.
Right.
And all that's going to do is it's going to beat up your joints. It's going to break down your muscles even more than they already were, and it's going to make it harder for you to continue to recover. So I think that's what Adrian is talking about. You're actually like, it's just not optimal training to go
Right.
in and send it every single day.
He goes on to say some more. He says, I've coached this methodology since 2011. The problem with enjoying the feeling of breathing hard, followed by sweat drip and lactate-saturated muscles, is that people want it every day. But when you chase it every day, you blunt the recovery from the adaptation. You slow the progress you see. You burn out the major joints that are responsible for making a large load travel long distance and quickly. The shoulders and knees get achy. You have to warm up to air squat. You can't crawl around on the floor. You can't plug in a phone charger because your rotator cuff doesn't function freely the way it should. There is a point of diminished returns on everything, and that includes intensity. You will break yourself. I see it annually. Right. I think it's important to harp on this more so because I keep seeing the conversation come up between different CrossFit coaches and different CrossFit channels. Best hour of their day. Ackerman talks about it all the time. Like you don't need to do that heavy ass workout every single day. CrossFit prescribes 3 days on, 1 day off, right? But that doesn't mean 3 days on at maximum intensity, which is another thing that Ackerman talks about a lot, right? High intensity doesn't mean maximum intensity. It just means high intensity. And even though that is where we get our best adaptations, the lines there shift from day to day, depending on how we feel. We need to be better about listening to our bodies and understanding that, maybe yesterday I came in and I did a light workout, right? It was a blue workout. It was okay. It was taxing on me. But I went home and I only was able to get 3 hours of sleep. I can't come in the next day and do another blue workout. I mean, I can, but should I? Probably not, right? If anything, I should probably go for like a long walk and give myself some time to recuperate and try to make up for some of that sleep on the next day because the body's going to feel it, right? You didn't have you didn't give yourself the opportunity to recover from that workout. It doesn't matter, like you said, whether it's a high-level workout, RX, or scaled, or whatever. But I think it's important for us to really listen to our bodies and understand this because I see athletes who are doing these RX workouts every single day. And then you talk to them towards, Thursday, Friday, and you're like, how you feeling? I am freaking wrecked. Well, yeah, you should be. There's no reason for you not to be wrecked. The same way that you're wrecked after a competition.
One of the most important things about this concept is just understanding like how to manage your intensity. I think that's where people are falling short at. I don't think it's a question of like people just coming in and wanting to do RX all the time. That's all they know to do all the time. I don't think they understand like how to manage that intensity. A lot of people don't know how to pace. It's something that I try to teach my competitors in competition team class. But it's not something that we have a ton of time to kind of go over during like a CrossFit class when we're trying to teach movement.
Right.
So from that aspect, one of the best ways to gauge your pacing during your workout is how are you breathing? Like are you doing a set of 15 dumbbell snatches and then you're like hyperventilating and you have to put the dumbbell down? At that point, you are absolutely going 100%. You know what I mean? Like you are competing at that point. You're no longer training. And maybe we should talk about that, the practice to competing continuum. But listening to your breath is one of the ways that you can definitely figure out, am I pacing this? Am I going hard? Am I chilling, am I hanging back? Should I be going hard on a day where I actually feel good and I'm just sandbagging right now? Do I feel beat up and I need to like find a better cadence with my breath and find a rhythm and just kind of coast through this workout? But being in tune with your breath is probably one of the best ways that you can find that pace that you need for that day.
Yeah, it's a good point. I was telling somebody that yesterday in foundations. As he was getting ready for his workout, it was 12 calories on the rower, 10 dumbbell reverse lunges, and 8 dumbbell push press. And he started on the first one, came out so hot on the rower. I think he finished his 12 calories in less than 30 seconds, which is a lot for a foundations athlete.
Wow.
Then did his dumbbell reverse lunges. I could start seeing the sweat drip down his face. And then he did his push press, and when he went to sit back on the rower, he looked up and he was like, "Oh man, this is going to be 9 minutes. I'm only a minute in." And I said, "Yeah, now the idea is I want you to figure out how you can sustain doing these movements without stopping. So if you're at a point now where you have to stop to catch your breath and breathe, you have passed the level that I want you at. I want you to dial it down, figure out how you can breathe while you're on the rower, recover while you're on the rower." So he got on the rower, he started rowing, and now he's bonked. It's taken him like 4 pulls to get a calorie, and he's doing it, but I'm explaining to him, like, this is something that you're going to have to adapt yourself to. He was a previous athlete when he was younger, so for a lot of people who did baseball, football, basketball growing up, as a kid, when you're younger, you can go full 100 miles an hour and maybe not get as tired as quickly, right? But now that we're older, we have to adapt. And he was learning that the hard way. But yeah, second round, I had him drop the dumbbells for those reverse lunges because he was already dying. And then he finished the lunges and he's like just trying to catch his breath and just trying to like get some oxygen in. And I told him, I was like, this is where you have to understand whenever you do these workouts, right? Pick a workout that is going to suit your skills and then figure out how to move through the movements without stopping. That's going to be the difficult part. But yeah, you mentioned something about the practice competition continuum or something like that.
Yeah.
Get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So every workout or how you approach every workout is basically on this continuum from practicing, which is super low intensity, super low volume, super low heart rate, super low stress, all the way over to the other end of the continuum, which would be competition, which is going to be high of all those things: high volume, high intensity, high stress, and training is going to be smack dab in the middle of that. Training is kind of in the middle of it. It's probably more so on the competitive side just because the intensities and volumes vary. But without getting too nerdy with it, we'll just say that it's right in the middle. And I think that most CrossFitters think that they are supposed to be on the we'll call it the right side of that in competition most of the time. They approach workouts as, how can I win this workout, or how can I get the best score possible on this workout?
Right.
When in all actuality, we should be practicing and training way more than we are competing. There's a reason that we only have assessments every 4 weeks. And if I'm being honest, I think that's too much. Back when I was trying to be a real athlete, I would only test a workout or max out a strength movement once a quarter. So once every 3 months, I was either maxing out my snatch or like testing a Fran or something like that. It wasn't something that I did very often. And that's for a couple reasons. One, competing, you're going to take every legal advantage that you can to do the best possible you can in that workout.
Right.
So if we have a workout, let's say we had a workout that was 5 rounds for time, 15 dumbbell snatches, 5 burpees over the dumbbell, and Let's go another 15 toes to bar. So we got a 15, 5, 15. If I'm competing in that workout, I care about things like how close is my dumbbell to the rig? How am I going to set up my feet? Who's around me that may get in my area and slow me down? How close am I to a fan? Because the hotter I get, the slower I'm going to move. So maybe I need to move a fan closer to me or move closer to a fan that is closer to the rig. Those are all strategic things that we think about. Or how am I going to break up this workout? How good do my shoulders feel right now? Do I need to foam roll my shoulders in my warm-up so that they're ready to go for all these snatches? Because, I mean, that's 75 snatches. Those are all the things that we think about when we're competing. Now, on the far left side, if we approach that workout as practice, we're like, hey, I'm okay with this workout taking me 20, 25 minutes, even though I know I can finish it in somewhere around maybe 5, maybe even, 12 or 5, 15, maybe even 12 minutes. I'm okay with this workout taking me 20 minutes because what I'm concerned about today, what the most important thing to me today is, how am I going to transition that dumbbell from below my waist to above my head? Am I going to go with the high elbow version? Am I going to go with that kind of kettlebell swing technique? Am I going to be able to lock my shoulder into place as I'm doing that kettlebell swing technique so I don't injure a rotator cuff or something like that? You're going to have to slow down to pay attention to those movement qualities. You're not going to be able to go max effort speed. And, on your toes to bar, okay, my goal today is I'm going to break my toes to bar up into 5s, but I'm going to keep my legs straight for every single rep today. I'm not going to bend my knees at all. I'm going to work on my global strength and try to use my body as one unit rather than a bunch of moving different parts. I'm going to try to use my abs a little bit more. I'm not going to pull down on the bar with my lats. I'm going to use my abs and my hip flexors and really focus in on that because I always use my lats. I always burn out my lats. I'm tired of burning out my lats on toes to bar. I need that for other things.
Right.
So that's how you approach a workout when you're thinking about practicing. You're trying to get better at moving. You're trying to, like we said earlier, the standard is the standard. You're trying to improve your standard of movement to get higher movement quality. And that is what it's going to make you fitter in the long term. I think Ben Bergeron posted I can see if I can find it, but I think he posted a post on Instagram the other day that was like, give me a room full of really good movers and I can make them really fit. Give me a room full of people who don't care how they move and who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a toss-up. I might be able to make them fit. I might not. It depends on their background and, a series of other factors as well. But if you give me a room full of people that really move well, we can make them super fit.
Let's talk about the importance of stimulus, right? I think the coach has a lot to do with this, but looking at Glassman's notes in the CrossFit Journal, right? He says, for the fitness that we are pursuing, every parameter within your control needs to be modulated to broaden the stimulus as much as possible. And, sorry, we talk about the stimulus as our goal for each workout, right? What the workout should feel like, how long it should take us, how many reps we should be looking to get, maybe how we should break it up. How important is it for us to be within certain parameters, and how should we adapt when we miss the stimulus altogether? So, using the example of the workout you just gave, what would your time stimulus be for that? Let's say 18 minutes.
Yeah, we would want to be somewhere in that 15 to 18 minute range,
right?
To get an effective dose of intensity. When it comes to stimulus, out of all the descriptors that you just used, the only one that I would say truly matches a stimulus would be, how does the workout feel? And the only reason I say that is because, again, it gives you the freedom to either approach that workout as like a practice, approach it as a training, or approach it as competition. When you tell people like how the workout should feel, you're still giving them the option to practice that workout. Because like I just mentioned, if I'm going in and my goal today is to move better and I want to do all my toes to bar with my legs straight, the only way that I know if I'm getting the purpose of the fitness out of this workout is if you tell me how it's supposed to feel. Hey guys, this workout's going to be a little breathy today. Your shoulders are going to be a little bit burning. Excuse me. Your shoulders are going to be burning a little bit. So make sure you are controlling your breath as you're running through this workout and matching your breath to your dumbbell snatches or to your toes to bar. Now I know that even if I am working on my movement quality or if I'm actually competing in this workout, if I get to a point where I'm just like absolutely sucking wind and my hands are on my knees and I'm staring at the dumbbell, I miss the stimulus of the workout.
Right.
So the time to me doesn't matter as much as you telling me how I'm supposed to feel in this workout.
And why is that? Like, let's say you are getting to that point where your intensity is so high that you have to stop and take a breath, right? Let's say we go both ways about that. You have the one person who was able to do it without getting to that point. They maybe went a little bit slower, used a lighter dumbbell, and they hit the same 15-minute, 18-minute window, right? And you have that other person who did it maybe in various sets, but they still had to stop and take 30, 45 seconds of rest in between, right? Why is one preferable to the other?
Well, that's going to, one, depend on which athletes we are talking about. But assuming that everything is the same between these two athletes, if I'm understanding your question correctly.
Or I guess, is one preferable to the other?
Yes. The one that is...
not stopping.
Not necessarily. The one that is actually meeting the intended stimulus. So going back to how the workout's supposed to feel. So if this is supposed to be a 15-minute workout and I want you to be exhausted for 15 minutes, I want you breathing hard, I want you feeling like it's a 15-minute sprint, then the person in the first camp that was basically sprinting and then having to take a 30-second rest, he would be doing, or she would be doing that workout correctly.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I want this to be like a slower, methodical, like not necessarily easy, but just more of an endurance type of effort where you are moving through your movements very smoothly and you're not breaking anything up strategically or because you have to, then that person would obviously have met the stimulus. So it really comes down to what purpose do we really want our athletes to get out of this workout? Like, what energy system are we working on? Are we doing something that's like more anaerobic threshold? Are we doing something that is like a long aerobic piece, or even a short aerobic piece? But like you said, that comes down to the coach understanding what the purpose of the workout is for that day. I also think
and for each individual.
Exactly. I think it's good to mention like knowing what your athletes have done that week, because honestly, you could have multiple stimuli for multiple athletes in your class doing the same workout. Like, if you know somebody, like today was Jeremy's second workout back after taking a little bit of time off. So for him, we're like, hey, bro, we're going to take it a little bit easy, ease you back into this process. Like, we're not going to go super hard. It's a partner workout, but I don't want you to feel like you have to rush through your reps just because your partner is, quote unquote, waiting on anything. Like, take your time, do your thing. Your partner is going to enjoy the rest. They will not mind resting a little longer. Right. I was his partner. I did not mind. But we kind of eased him back into that process. Me, however, I've trying to get back into shape, so I have been working out a little bit more. I wanted to see like what my capacity on my toes to bar was today. I wanted to see like, can I still do multiple sets of 10 unbroken, or do I need to start to break these up? So I went to, excuse me, I went with a comfortable pace, but with the goal of seeing how many large sets I could do. So you had two people doing the same workout at the same time. They were partners in this workout with completely different stimuluses.
Right. How did you do?
I did pretty good. I think my lowest set of toes to bar was 8. So
Nice.
I had a couple sets of 12s in there. So it's coming back. It's coming back.
What is your intention behind wanting to get back in shape? Like, what shape are you trying to get back into?
I really would like to, and I guess I'm kind of opening up right now because I hadn't planned on telling anybody this, but I guess I'll just tell the whole world.
That's what we're here for.
True. Get vulnerable.
Give me the tea.
No, I would really like to, within the next couple of years, do either a local competition or maybe even like one of the bigger ones. Do a elite level competition. I was watching the elite guys at Tampa Bay, and watching them do the rope climb workout as well as doing the complex was just like, like maybe I'm not as far off as I thought I was. You know what I mean? Like I always say, back when I wanted to be a real athlete, I had done a few like elite level local competitions, and that just seems like it's so far from where I am now that there's like no point in even trying to get back there because I just don't have the time that I used to have to dedicate to all of that. But then like watching that competition, and this doesn't take anything away from the elite males. They are absolute studs. But
you're basically saying they weren't all that.
I'm not though. I'm not. They really were. They really were all that. What I'm saying is I'm not as far away from all that. No, I'm just kidding. No. It really inspired me watching them like really throw down and lay it out all on the competition floor. It was just like, man, like I kind of miss being on that higher level where I could do some of the things that I'm watching these guys do. And I kind of want to get back to that and maybe even surpass it a little bit.
I want to see that, man. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Especially since I can't compete, so I might as well watch you. Maybe I'll take the MC mic from you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's great, bro. Like, I feel the same way, man. Watching the elites was kind of a ball. I was judging, and watching them do the complex specifically was just like, these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone else was doing the complex. The complex was 4 deadlifts into 3 hang cleans, into 2 front squats, into 1 power clean. And, watching the teams and the individuals do it in the lower levels, it was like they were getting 3, 4, some even 5 attempts. The elites were doing 2 attempts, maybe 3. They would just come in, start throwing some weights on, throw it up one time, and I'm like, all right, I'll start counting. They're like, no, I'm just warming up. Then they'd throw a couple more weights on, and then they would just go. And it was, I had one guy come in, and he's like, I'm going to start at 275. And I said, to what?
Yep.
He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go for 275. And I was like, on your first attempt? He's like, yeah. He was a big dude.
Yeah.
Came in, got the 275, and then he dropped the weight, and he just sat on the plates. And he was just like, I got plenty of time. He had 7 minutes.
Yeah.
He finished at like 34 seconds. And now he's sitting there, and I'm like, you going to go again? Because now, as a judge, I'm bored, right? I got to sit here for 6 minutes and just look around. He's like, yeah, I'll probably try again. He said, what's the highest somebody hit today? And I said, somebody hit 295. And he's like, all right, I'll go 295. And then he starts loading up the plates, waits another couple minutes, boom, goes for the 295, does it, puts it down, and I'm like, are you done? And he's like, yeah, I'm done. I got another workout later, so I don't need to do this. And I'm like, damn, these guys are in a different league.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing for points.
Yeah.
But it is impressive, man, like to see them. And that 275, 295 for him was the same as it was 155 or 135 for somebody else in a different division, you know?
Yeah.
Like they felt the same way when they were done. It just wasn't as much weight.
Yeah.
But it's impressive to watch some of these athletes. If you guys have not been to a competition, a local one nearby, I highly recommend you do it, especially if you want to volunteer to help out for it. It is such a trip. Like I said, I judged Saturday and Sunday at Tampa Bay Games. It was my first time doing that, and it was a ball. Met so many people, got to hang out a little bit with Danielle Brandon, hang up a little bit with Pat Vellner. You know, it was a cool experience. It was a cool experience. I don't know when I'll do it again, but it was a cool experience.
Judging is stressful.
You know, I wouldn't say it was stressful. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge. I don't have a problem no repping somebody when they do something wrong. The stress more came down to not having the right amount of manpower and having to do the entire shift on Sunday without any real relief. But aside from that, it really was fun. You get a lot of food, you get a lot of snacks, get a couple little shirts and some swag and whatnot. But more than anything, it's just fun to be part of the community and see all the other athletes from other gyms. All right, and that's going to do it for this episode. Unfortunately, we had a little mishap with our equipment and weren't able to continue recording the remainder of our conversation. We had about another 10-15 minutes that we recorded, but that's going to do it for this episode. As always, please make sure that you like and subscribe to our podcast, share it with your friends and family, and of course, follow us on Instagram at Failure is Progress. Shoot us a DM there with any topics you guys want us to cover. It's really helpful for us when you guys give us feedback and let us know what you want to hear so we can try to tailor these more towards you. Aside from that, make sure you sign up for the Festivus Games happening on October 5th at our Clermont location. If you would like to volunteer for that event, it would be very helpful for us. We need judges and volunteers to keep these events going, and being part of the community is really the best part of volunteering for these. So please reach out and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.